We're going to continue reading, and we're going to keep hearing from Prisca. Oh, Paul, how like sunrise is your coming into our lives. Within days of our move to the new North Market shop, we, the three of us, fell into an easy routine. The loft had a window we shuttered at night, Aquila and I, but it faced east, and the louvers could be cracked to admit the breezes and a little sky. Just at gray dawn, Paul would wake and awaken me by his stirring below. I guessed he was dressing. Jars bumped their wooden shelves, water plunked against brass bowls. There was sighing, the low grunt sighing of difficult motion. Then, through the window, I could hear the crunch of sandal soles across the cold, and the shop door would open, and the door would close with a soft fall of the latch, and even before the songbirds sang, the murmuring voices of Paul and Timothy would raise a daybreak hum below. How like a cover kinder than linen were those voices under my dozy body. Daily, until he left with the letter for Thessalonica, daily, devoutly, at dawn, that lovely young man with his ringlet fall of honey hair arrived and exchanged nearly formal greetings with the apostle. But soon their voices would cease. A silence intervened, and then I would hear a sort of rhythmic movement and something like groaning. In my mind's eye, I saw Paul and Timothy standing with their hands at their stomachs like two old Jews rocking swiftly back and forth and groaning wordless prayers to God. And so the red fires of the morning were kindled in the clouds outside the window, and Aquila would wake and rise and dress, and by then I could hear Paul whetting knives on a sharpening stone, while Timothy began to read the scriptures out loud, which was his morning service. I alone still lay abed, I on my back above, allowing my soul to float in the simple pleasures of company. Aquila was probably telling the truth. He had not been lonely here in Corinth, but I had. For the last 6 months, I'd suffered the loneliness dreadfully. On account of the bitter divisions in Rome, we had decided to keep silent in the synagogue, my husband hidden among the men, I a grave suspicion to the women in the galleries above. Solitude may suit Aquila, but it feels like blame to me. I grow sad when I have no friends, and sadness turns into a wasting disease. Truly, I can't eat. I feel constantly close to tears. But then, in the spring of that year, my father. Oh, how can that man make such a dagger of his despisings? Does he realize the cruelty? My father used even the death of his own wife to punish me for my convictions, for the faith that he refused to consider. Your mother is dead, he wrote to me. And this is the whole of his letter. Your mother died of a broken heart, not 10 days after you left her alone in Rome. Father, I left her with you. You abandoned your mother. No, I didn't. I invited her, but she chose you. You abandoned your mother. So then I was suffering something infinitely more killing than loneliness, anguish of the heart, violent physical spasms of guilt. Poor Aquila watched with a heavy-laden helplessness. Do you know, I felt such sympathy for him in those days, and there was a part of me that wanted terribly to comfort him, but it was the smallest part. I couldn't help my husband either, could only cry, would not control my tears, causing him his own sort of loneliness. But then, here came this skinny little man, this busy, bow-legged preacher, this cantankerous, compulsive, big-headed voice, the daybreak sun of my life. And I said to Aquila, I've asked him to live with us. And my dear husband answered, he can sleep in the workshop below.